My predictions for this week? Chaos. Grossi, Bossy, Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom, who the hell knows anymore, Grossi, and today we're going to be breaking down every single game on the Week 16 slate and hope that we're not watching Tuesday Night Football once again. So let's get right into it and start off with the Thursday Night Football game. You got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Tennessee Titans. The 49ers coming off a win, slapping around the Atlanta Falcons, because that's just what you do to the Atlanta Falcons, utilizing that run game, and it just seems that they can pull anybody off the street and just give them the ball 10 times, and they're going to get over 100 yards. And the 49ers, listen, they're a run-first team, and they've kind of gotten this momentum going on now. Obviously, they lost to Seattle a few weeks ago, but strong defensive performance. If Jimmy G doesn't screw it up too much, they just hand off the ball. They do pretty darn well. And of course, you got George Kittle over there. Meanwhile, the Titans did everything in their power to lose that game, and they did successfully, getting off to an early lead against the Pittsburgh Steelers and then doing absolutely nothing in the second half except just giving the ball away 4 times. The Titans are in a rough place right now. However, they could still win their division with a win over the 49ers and the Colts losing to the Cardinals because they swept the Colts earlier this season. So the Titans are basically in a prime spot to secure the division and a playoff spot, which means I think the 49ers are going to win this, because if the Titans have taught me anything this year, they will not make this easy whatsoever. Honestly, it'll probably go down to week 18. So right now, I'm going to pick the 49ers to win on Thursday night. Titans are a beat-up football team, and the 49ers are going to keep on rolling. Then, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. The first of 2 Christmas Day games. The first being, of course, the Cleveland Browns taking on the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. Harold, look more festive. That's better. The Browns coming off a heartbreaking last-second loss to the Raiders. The Raiders are just happy to be able to get on the board. But the Browns, they had 20-something people on COVID last week. So this was pretty rough. Had to play on Monday and now have to travel to Lambeau on a short week. Yeah, this isn't a good look for the Cleveland Browns, who their offense just completely struggled against the Raiders. I mean, it's not a surprise. You have Nick Mullins there at QB. Nick Chubb was still able to be successful, but they really couldn't get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense, still darn good, kept them in the game for as long as humanly possible. The Packers, coming off a 1-point win against the Baltimore Ravens, as Tyler Huntley was like, oh yeah, I'm going to score 4 touchdowns in this game. The Packers, still going to be without David Bakhtiari, no Zadarius Smith, and no Jair Alexander. However, maybe there's a little bit of good to come out of this, because maybe the following week, maybe we see one of those guys return. They're able to get it done with a makeshift offensive line, and they're going to need to, because going up against a good Browns defense, it needs to be all hands on deck. MVS coming down with the COVID, which is not really so great. He has an opportunity to still play on Saturday if he tests out, but we'll kind of see where things go there. I'm going to pick the Packers to win this game. Aaron Rodgers is going to break Brett Favre's record. He only needs 1 touchdown to do so, and it's going to be pretty damn good to see it on Christmas in Lambeau. The Packers, with a win over the Browns, would sweep the AFC North, and it has not been easy, except the Steelers game. And so this one might be a close game once again, but I see the Packers coming away with a W on Christmas. Following that, you got the primetime game on Christmas. You got the Colts taking on the Cardinals. Another fantastic game on Christmas. The Colts coming off a huge win from the following Saturday, knocking off the New England Patriots. Almost blew it at the end, but getting it done. Jonathan Taylor just making his case for why he should be MVP this year. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, they lost to the Lions. So that's how things are going there. Have dropped 2 straight, and even though they can't lose the division this week, that's going to start to be on the mind of Cardinals fans. The Cardinals are trying not to have a late season epic collapse, and this is not a easy game for them in any way, shape, or form. This should be a back and forth battle. You have a Colts team who could utilize their amazing running back, have a good defense, and the Cardinals, they can have an electric offense, but AJ Green needs to fully run his routes, and they need to actually protect Kyler Murray. I'm actually going to pick the Colts to win this game because I think they're on a bit of a hot streak right now. They're looking like one of the best teams in football when everything is on. I think the Cardinals can definitely score more points, but I'm going to pick the Colts here to limit Kyler Murray. Of course, no DeAndre Hopkins. James Conner still dealing with a nagging injury. The Colts win. Cardinals drop 3 straight. Panic ensues. Following that, you got the Detroit Lions taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Lions won their second game in probably what was the craziest upset of this insane year, beating the Arizona Cardinals. Dan Campbell just going, hey, you want a kneecap? I got a whole bunch of them. That team is willing to run through a wall for this guy, and you kind of just love to see it. Meanwhile, the Falcons, well, they falconed it up. Cordarrelle Patterson has been like the surprise of the year, but that's about it. This could be a really close game, and I could see the Falcons absolutely winning it. But hey, just for the raffles at this point, let's pick the Lions. Let's win 2 straight, and Blue Kitty go roar. Following that, you have an AFC North showdown between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. The best part, both of these teams can still win their division. The worst part, it's not going to be decided this week. Ravens coming off a 1-point loss. Bengals coming off a 5-point win against the Denver Broncos in what was an ugly game that featured absolutely no offense from either team. This should actually be a pretty darn good game. The Ravens, I think, with Lamar Jackson back or not, can still put together an offense here. Meanwhile, the defense, if they get some members of their secondary back, they should look okay. The Bengals, man, they're a very inconsistent football team right now. Kitty Goes Meow can put up the highest of highs and can also do absolutely nothing. I'm actually going to pick the Ravens to win this one. A close game against the Packers maybe rejuvenated them a little bit, and the Ravens are going to be able to stay alive within their division. But I imagine that this game is going to probably come down to the wire. Following that, you got the LA Rams taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams playing on Tuesday night and also with the help of the refs able to defeat the Seattle Seahawks, in which Cooper Kupp was just like, hey, I'm going to put up over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? Meanwhile, the Vikings, they dream of a day where they could put up over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns because after a Justin Jefferson touchdown, they did diddly squat in that game. What an ugly game against the Bears. And speaking of terrible reffing in that game as well, that was just an ugly game. The Vikings are technically in the number 7 seed right now, holding on to it for dear life. Meanwhile, the Rams are like, hey, that's a nice number 7 seed you got there. Would be a shame if you lost it. I'm going to pick the Rams to win this just because I think they're the better overall team. The Vikings did nothing to inspire any confidence that they would actually be able to hold on to that 7 seed. So because of that, Rams gonna get the dub. Moving on, you have an AFC East showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots. The Bills in their red jerseys knocking off Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, in which their defense definitely showed up and their offense kind of did. Singletary having like 80 yards on the day. Meanwhile, the Patriots, as we talked about before, losing against the Colts, came back in the fourth quarter, but Mac Jones just did not look good in that game, couldn't establish the run. And here we are again in a game in which previously Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times and was able to defeat the Buffalo Bills. Shocker, they're probably going to run the ball a lot. They ran for over 200 yards last time against the Bills. They're probably going to do the same thing here. The Bills, I mean, it's all in front of them. If the Bills lose and the Dolphins lose, the Patriots win this division. Patriots coming off a deflating loss. I see them bouncing back against the Bills, and until the Bills kind of beat a good team, my confidence in them is not too high. So I'm going to pick the Patriots here, hoping the Bills actually surprise and actually win this thing. But for right now, Patriots win. Then you got a battle of epic proportions. The Jaguars taking on the New Jersey Jets. The Jaguars, yeah, they lost to the Texans. They're not a good team. The Jets. What is there to say about the Jets? Both of these teams are literal garbage. The Jaguars are holding on to the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And listen, I don't think they're going to want to lose that. Are they going to draft a quarterback? Who knows? The Jets, I think, actually have a better team here. They have a better defense. Michael Carter coming back last week off IR didn't really do anything, but maybe he gets a few more carries this week. I'm going to pick the Jets to win this, and they have a better overall team, which again is not saying much, but the Jets, There you go. You can celebrate your Super Bowl in Week 16. Then you have an AFC East showdown between the New Jersey Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants, yeah, Mike Glennon sucks, and Daniel Jones is out for the rest of the year, so that's not a good look. How many interceptions will he throw this week? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, the Eagles are able to pull off a win against the Washington football team. Eagles are still holding on and trying to fly all the way up to their NFC playoff berth. They're trying. I don't know why they're clawing. I guess because they have talons. But I guess I said flying. I should have probably just stick with the flying motif. Taking down the Washington football team, and this could be a competitive game. The Eagles, they should have beat the Giants a few weeks ago. They're going to have an opportunity here. Playing in Philadelphia, I think the Eagles are a better team, and again, you have Mike Glennon, so probably going to get some interceptions here. So I'll pick the Eagles to take the win here, and the Cowboys are still probably going to win their division. Following that, you have an NFC South showdown between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers getting shut out on Sunday Night Football against the Saints, and it was just glorious to see. Meanwhile, the Panthers, I mean, they put up points, but it really wasn't anything to talk about. The Panthers are such a weird football team right now, and they are just not a good football team. There's so much in the air. I would love for the Panthers to pull off a surprise win here, but I don't see it happening. The Buccaneers, I think, are going to win. They're probably going to absolutely demolish the Panthers, and they still are going to play them again this year, so may God have mercy on your soul. Then you have the Chargers taking on the Texans, and the Chargers are going to win this game. Following that, you got the Chicago Bears taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Bears getting screwed by the refs, the Seahawks getting screwed by the refs. Both teams don't really have an offense. Yay, but they have a good defensive line. That's basically looking at two sides of the same coin here. Justin Fields could be really good if the Chicago Bears don't ruin him, but that's a big if. The Seahawks, meanwhile, yeah, they're going to have their first losing season in quite some time, which, oh, a single tear drops down my face. This is being played in Seattle, so I'm going to give Seattle Seahawks a bit of an advantage here, though I could see the Bears coming out strong and winning this game, but Tyler Lockett returning would definitely help, so the Seahawks win, and both teams continue to plunge into mediocrity. Following that, you have an interesting AFC showdown between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Steelers able to defeat the Tennessee Titans, and it's mostly because the Titans literally were like, no, you take the ball. Take the ball. The Steelers able to get it done, though, and just taking advantage of a terrible Titans second half performance. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, after being lackadaisical for the entire game, came roaring back, defeating the Chargers in overtime, with a lot of thanks to Travis Kelce, who just put up insane numbers. This could be a pretty fun game. Steelers defense isn't too shabby. The Chiefs defense has been pretty good, and the offense seems to be waking up every now and then. The Chiefs are currently the number one seeded team in the AFC, and for the chaos of it, you would imagine the Steelers might actually show up and win here. I am going to pick the Chiefs. It is being played in Arrowhead, so hostile environment, and the Chiefs have been rolling with that win streak for a bit now. So Chiefs win, Steelers, don't worry, you could probably still win your division. Following that, you have an AFC West showdown between the Denver Broncos and the Raiders. Well, the Raiders slapped the crap out of the Broncos the last time they met earlier this season, and the Broncos coming off a deflating loss against the Kitty Goes Meow Cincinnati Bengals. Teddy Bridgewater getting injured. Drew Lock is going to be the starter. Big ol' yikes. Meanwhile, the Raiders able to escape with a last-second field goal against the Cleveland Browns. Both of these teams are not very good and are still in contention for playoff spots. I'm going to pick the Raiders to win here just because I do not trust Drew Lock in any way, shape, or form. He is a bad football player. So Raiders, you basically just have to not lose this game, and that'll be pretty easy to do, but knowing you, you'll make it difficult. So Raiders win, but no confidence. Then in the spirit of Christmas, what everyone wanted in their stockings, you have an NFC East showdown in primetime on Sunday Night Football. Oh, wait, you didn't want that? You have the Washington football team who started Garrett Gilbert last night taking on the Dallas Cowboys. I want the Washington football team to win so bad. The Cowboys, their offense wasn't too good, but their defense showed up against Mike Glennon and the Giants last week. Washington, they had a really cool interception off of Goddard's foot, but other than that, there really wasn't much to write home about. The Cowboys, if they win the division. It's that easy. If they don't win, then maybe this gets a little bit more interesting. I very much want Washington to win. Like, They almost beat the Cowboys a few weeks ago. Come on. Please, for America. The Cowboys are unfortunately probably going to win, securing their division, and their fans will be insufferable. But, Wildflower, this is your moment. Be a legend. Please. But I do have the Cowboys winning. Then to finalize this week, you got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Saints. All of a sudden, people looking at Tua and being like, oh, maybe he could actually be pretty good. Then you have the Saints who just shut out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on primetime like we talked about before. This could actually be a really fun game. You have two good defenses, offenses that can fluctuate from bit to bit. Taysom Hill running that offense just absolutely gives me no confidence whatsoever. Kamara was held by the Buccaneers who have a good run defense. But I'm going to pick the Saints to win this one here just because I think the defense of the Saints has really balled out in the past couple of weeks. And the Dolphins, while they look pretty darn good, they might make Tua's life a little bit chaotic. If they could shut out Tom Brady, I think they could shut out Tua. So I am going to pick the Saints here, keeping their playoff hopes alive. And let's see if they can get 2 primetime wins in a row. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you see winning in Week 16? Lots of playoff clinching scenarios on the line. Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy on all social media you see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.